Alright, here we are at 969 4th Street in Berthoud, Colorado. It's a bit of a fixer-upper. It's an older home. Looks like the city's reviewing this property. We'll have to find out what that's about. Anyway, here's another corner lot. Here's the intersection. It's not a particularly busy street. The front walk is stones as opposed to concrete. It was fairly common back at the time the house was built. In fact, most of the sidewalks used to be stone sections like these, and well, somebody decided concrete was easier to do, but you can even see further down there's some stone left in the sidewalk there. Has a older tree here, and it looks like it's starting to get unhealthy. This is something that may have to come down before too long. Try to get a view around the side here. This is the side street. You can see the mountains down the street. There's a privacy fence on this side. So it has a one-car detached. The foundation looked like it's given way. This wall's flaring out a little bit. Yeah, well, geez, it's not even a real foundation. Looks like it's cinder blocks. So, anyway. Coming around the garage, a couple more of the larger stones. We'll take a look at the backyard. Another mature tree that's past its prime, right here. In fact, part of it broke off and looks like somebody was carving on it. Privacy fence, real old style sheds. Horseshoes. Looks like there's an alley access at the rear. Take a look over. Here's a view of the rear. The power's coming from a pole off that alley access. And I can tell you this shed is not in the best shape. Roof's in bad shape. The sheathing's deteriorating. It's all repairable. It's just a matter of deciding if that's worth it or not. Looks like there's concrete floor in here. Let's give you an idea. Somebody's done some pruning in the yard. And there's more of those stones. Those are pretty cool. They've addressed some drainage issues here. They got trying to get it away from the foundation. That probably might have been inspired by some problems. The house is in dire need of a new roof, paint. Looks like there's bits of trim missing behind the tree here. Could be, yeah, there's probably critters getting in the attic right there. And the grade is really not good here. You got a lot of hydrostatic pressure going against the house, and I'm not sure if they've taken this around to the front or not. It looks like there's a buried pipe, so maybe they have. That downspout needs to be connected. Again, just to point out that there's, yeah, the paint's failed, I should say. And we have some exposed I'll call it foundation here. This may be a mix. I feel this part of the house at the rear was added later than the original house because it's got concrete and foundation, whereas the main part of the house, it's a stone foundation where there's actually stones that are set, and some of them are loose. You can see some. It's hard to see in here, but there's some cracks in the joints, and so they may need some touch up on that, and it's not the same as fixing a regular concrete foundation. So that's something that I would say definitely have a structural engineer look at. I'm seeing signs of the foundation movement all over here. It looks like there's an access, like window well maybe. But those can be fixed. It's sort of like repointing brick is one of the repairs. It depends on just how far down it goes. Alright, let's head on in. First room is carpeted. I can see the floor's not completely even, but that happens a lot in these turn-of-the-century homes. So it's heaving a little there and goes a little low towards the corner. So it's when you first walk in, this is the living room. The next on the right, they have it set up as an office study. Could be a bedroom because it does have a closet. So if this wanted to be made into a bedroom, it wouldn't be too hard to fix by just putting a door here. Well, you can see some of the old wallpaper here in the back of this closet. Plaster ceiling, I can see where that pipe goes through. Interesting. Windows have not been updated. So we have the sash cord windows, probably have the counterweight inside the jamb, and it looks like a wooden storm added here, or that aluminum. That's aluminum. And so I noticed elsewhere I looked that most of the windows are original. This one's not working because the cord's broken. Often people, if they want to be authentic, the windows can be repaired so that the weights and the cords are all working. The other option is just to do replacements that keep the original trim. Now, granted, this is not turn-of-the-century trim. That's actually a base trim that they use as casing. So the original trim is gone. We have a fir base trim going around. Stairs going up. We'll get to that. They got a parquet floor here. There's a wood stove here in the middle of the house. I went with a lot of black around it. I believe that's painted metal. Yeah. Here we have the laundry room with tongue and groove wall covering. That's a pine. Even did the ceiling the same way. Here's the kitchen. Cabinets are a little tired. Formica top, well-used appliances. There's a little side porch. Looks like it's going to have our access to the crawl space as well. Okay, I've opened up the hatch. Take us down to the basement. And they did do some sister wall work here on the foundation. It is partly concrete floor, mostly dirt. Concrete looks thin and has heaved. So they did a dig out here. The original was not this deep. So this was the original was probably fairly shallow, and this is a thing you commonly see where they'll dig out and pour another foundation wall up against the existing. Now I did notice that the upper foundation wall, the stone, had some issues, and there's some stuff going on down here. This is not going to be a short list of things to fix in this place. There's original knob and tube wiring still in place. Don't know if it's live. That's something you would want to eliminate. Here we have a post shoring up the floor above. But the thing is, it's not on a proper footer. Big old crack in that sister wall. And that's a failure. They didn't put a sister wall here. That's just, they just stucco coated some dirt and it's falling apart. Same there. So that wasn't an adequate amount of concrete for a sister wall. To me, that's a sign of, yeah, they made it look good, but didn't really do the whole job. And to have this kind of failure, they had a lot of water coming in. So this house has had a number of water issues over the years eating up its foundation. Now you can see I'm in the part that they dug out. Back there, they did not dig out. And it's literally crawl space. And there's lots of debris in there. So old pipe, insulation, ducting, plaster. They used some of the stones to kind of shore up the floor. Yeah. This is going to take a bit of work to get this right. The furnace is not very old, fortunately. I find it interesting that it's not a high efficiency furnace, but they did run it in plastic pipe. I'd want to check the code on that. I don't know if this pipe is rated for that temperature. It might be. I mean, it looks like somebody used the right materials, but we'll have to see. So anyway, first off the bat, I'm concerned about the bones of this house. I'd say it's going to need some foundation work without question. And I do see electrical issues. I see some structural issues. And probably want to check out the plumbing. It does have a newer water main in, which is good, and it's running copper. But it immediately changes to half-inch pipe, which is terrible for a house. So that's going to be something you probably want to fix. It appears that somebody did update the electrical panel, but it's only 100 amp, which is really not adequate for a typical home. I mean, as the code is anymore, if you were to replace that, they'd have you put in nothing less than a 200 amp panel. Okay, we have a full bath here on the main level. Good old school clawfoot tub. Blue tiles, there's some settling and cracking around the toilet. The floor's failing. There's a lot of flex in the floor. If you're going to do tile floors in a house this old, you really got to make the floor solid. And so seeing cracks like this in the floor is no surprise. And now for the upstairs. There is some settling. You got a crack here, so that's coming from that basement we were in. We have a high ceiling in here. This is like a 9-foot height on the ceiling in here. And it was high on the lower level too, if I forgot to mention. So we have a door, and I know it goes nowhere. often had like a little rooftop porch on some of these houses, and that's what that door was for, and that porch has been changed. So here we have a bedroom. Seems to be not too bad, actually. The railing looks nice. Here's the bath. Somebody's updated this. Looks like maybe 90s, early 90s. So it's got a skylight with a shade, bath venting, so Kohler sink. That's a surprise. Nice. This is probably a linen closet. Yep. And another bedroom. And whatever reason, they put up just flat ceiling on that thing. That was kind of odd. So I would have done it different, but that's me. And view out the backyard. So here's this house, 969 4th in Berthoud. Turn of the century home. And this one needs work. And it can be fixed. Somebody that knows what they're doing can make this into a really sweet space. One more thing I'll point out is all these shrubs that are right up against this foundation are not doing it any good at all. They really need to be removed. You shouldn't have anything with that kind of root structure within several feet of the foundation wall. Well, that's right up against it there, and the other's about a foot away, and here's a few more that are like right up against it. So I would highly recommend getting all that growth away from it. And that foundation's just going to have to be fixed. So, all right, there it is.